Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Iron Maiden-A-Thon. We have the penultimate episode of Iron Maiden-A-Thon here. We are talking about what I thought would be maybe the last Iron Maiden album. They proved me wrong in 2021 with Senjutsu. We'll get to that one after this episode. But today we are talking about, if you can't see my t-shirt, we're talking about The Book of Souls. This was a 2015 album, released September 4th, 2015, recorded from September to December of 2014 at Guillaume Tell Studios in Paris. It was produced by Kevin Caveman Shirley, and they made us wait for this one. We had The Final Frontier in 2010, and we had to wait a full 5 years for another album. I went from high school to college. This came out right when I transferred to Cal State Northridge, and this album was one of the first things that I listened to in the dorm rooms. We got some background information on the album. We're going to skip the intro because we've got a long video here for a long album. This is Iron Maiden's longest album ever. I know Senjutsu seems like it's long. This one is even longer. There's an 18-minute track. Like, come on, what are you going to do? Okie dokie. So we've got the Maiden England tour that they went on. That was my favorite Iron Maiden concert tour. It went back to the Seventh Son of a Seventh Son era. They played some great songs off of that album. They celebrated the re-release of the live album that came out of the vault. Originally was a concert video that they got the audio for at the NEC Arena, I think, in England. And then Bruce confirmed that they had plans for a new album in 2013. So they went on a very lengthy tour for The Final Frontier. They went on a tour that showed, you know, basically the reunion era of Iron Maiden, and then they went on the Maiden England tour. So that took up a lot of this time. They had plans to unveil and release the album were put on hold because Bruce Dickinson was diagnosed with cancer. So yes, he recorded this entire album with a gigantic golf ball sized tumor in his throat. I can say for all of us out there, fuck cancer. Heaven can wait. You know, it was a big scary moment when Bruce Dickinson was diagnosed, when they announced it on the internet, because they were saying, oh yeah, we've got the album out. We wanted to put the album out, but we're putting it on hold so that Bruce can recover. And then he made a full recovery, and he sounds better than ever. So good to Bruce Dickinson. Good to everybody for supporting him. They gave him ample time to recover. It was a blow, but they got over it. The album was shown off on June 18th, 2015, for a September of 2015 release. It became the 5th album of theirs to go #1 in the UK, and it peaked at #4 in the US. It also went #1 in 43 other countries. Let that sink in. This album went #1 in 43 other countries besides the UK and the US. That is astounding. That is amazing. Heavy metal will never die. It is the longest album in their career, in their catalog, at 92 minutes and 11 seconds. Obviously, in the latter stage of this era that we're in of Iron Maiden, the songs have gotten longer, the albums have gotten longer, everything has gotten longer, but nothing beats out this album. It is astounding. It is an hour and a half of just solid heavy metal. And it's the first album since the X Factor to use the original font with the extended R, M, and N in Iron Maiden. So you see the little wings right there. It is the first album since the X Factor to reuse that again. Every album since then and between then, cut it off. That's a welcome touch to a... I wouldn't say an album that gets back to basics, because this is very much a reunion era Iron Maiden album, but there are those little hints that you can feel in there of, you know, Iron Maiden's past in this. They do that with all of their releases, and that's why we love them so much here. The album cover was done by Mark Wilkinson. The Book of Souls World Tour, you can check out the poster right there, kicked off in 2016 in Sunrise, Florida. They always kick off or end in Sunrise, Florida, because that's where Nicko lives, and I guess they like Florida. And it continued through North America, South America, Asia, Africa, and Europe. Hallowed Be Thy Name was dropped from the set list for the second leg of the tour due to legal reasons, but then it was brought back for the Legacy of the Beast World Tour after they fixed those legal issues with somebody... Basically, the story goes like Steve Harris got permission, verbal permission, I think, from a poet to use his lines in Hallowed Be Thy Name. He died, his kids wanted some money, they sued, and then they had to drop it from the set list, and then they got all that figured out, and so then they reinstated it. Thank God. They played If Eternity Should Fail and Speed of Light, Tears of a Clown, The Red and the Black, Death or Glory, The Book of Souls, and The Great Unknown on the tour. The Great Unknown replaced Hallowed Be Thy Name from the first leg to the second leg. They're comparable length songs, not comparable in quality though. That's it for the background information, and we will get to the CD booklet here. It is a double album, and you can see the sort of Mayan themed Eddie there. I remember when they showed this off, I was a little underwhelmed, but at the end of the day, this is a very awesome album cover. It just shows the sort of themes very well. You can see it on the t-shirt here. Here's the full-sized version of Eddie. I got 2 t-shirts on the first leg of the tour. I got this one, and then I got one of Eddie destroying the Forum. And then on the second leg, I got another one that was sort of California-themed. I love when Iron Maiden does that for their various stops. So you've got the front and the back there, and we've got some great disc art. We've got the nice colorful Eddie there. Let's see, how does this open up? Opens out into a tray. And then we've got the second disc. We've got the back panel there. And then we'll show you the booklet. And then we'll get to the track by track. Now we've got the booklet. Got Eddie on the front there. Beautiful Eddie. Got some sort of hieroglyphs there. And Eddie, the Book of Souls, burned in. Got some more album artwork back there. Some nice Eddie artwork. And then we've got what's on my t-shirt. Eddie and the shaman holding out his heart. Holding out his heart for you. Surprised they didn't put a ballad on this one, because Eddie wants to give you his heart. There's another one. This artwork is also on a t-shirt. Here's the middle panel. The band there. Death or Glory. Great song. Almost done. This is quite a long album. That's why the booklet is gigantic. And of course, being an Iron Maiden album, you have to have a cool shot of the band looking all cool with sunglasses on and all that good stuff. Then there's the thank yous, and that's it for the booklet. Now we'll get to the main event, what you all came for, the track-by-track listing of the album, and we'll start off with one of the singles. We'll start off with what they started the Book of Souls World Tour with, If Eternity Should Fail, solo written by Bruce Dickinson, 8 minutes and 28 seconds long. This track was originally a Bruce Dickinson solo album song, but they turned it into an Iron Maiden track. If you've heard some of his stuff from the 90s, the 2000s, this sounds very similar. This would have fit in very well on whatever solo album Bruce Dickinson was working on. Apparently he's still working on a solo album, but he hasn't done very much with that in recent memory, because I think they're just, trying to get Iron Maiden stuff done here. It was the first Iron Maiden song to use drop D tuning. It's just really an incredibly heavy track here. It's a great concert opener. You have like sort of the drums at the beginning and Bruce Dickinson's vocals. It goes through someone who reaches the end of the world, which is death, and then realizes that death is just one stop on the journey through your life and the voyage of the soul. It ends with somebody named Necropolis giving a speech about eternity being a short while and how they've lived forever and seen things in eons and eons, and their son and his 2 sons who he gave life with, all that good stuff. It is a fantastic way to kick off this album. This is among my favorites of the reunion era. It's just, it fits very well. It's just like a very good representation of what Iron Maiden is now. It's heavy, but it's long. It's not super fast, but it's fast enough to where you can headbang along to it, and it gets you going opening a concert. I'm really glad they didn't make this one a single, actually, or release it before so that you could hear it for the first time when you popped in the CD or put on the vinyl or whatever. I always love those types of experiences where you get to listen to it for the first time alongside everybody else who is buying the album that day. Number 2 is the lead single. It's the first track we heard off of the album. It's Speed of Light by Adrian Smith and Bruce Dickinson, coming in at 5 minutes and 1 second. This is your 2 minutes to midnight. This is your Bruce Dickinson, Adrian Smith, poppy single gonna earworm in your brain. It's the first single released from the album on August 14th, 2015. The video is amazing. It depicts Eddie going through different video games and ending in sort of like a Call of Duty style first-person shooter where he rips somebody's heart out, or rips his own heart out. Goes through the history of video games, basically. It is a classic rocker with a great scream by Bruce at the beginning. It's one of his best of this era. He doesn't really open up the pipes like that usually on these studio tracks, but on this track in particular, oh boy. The chorus will 100% worm its way into your brain. Every time I listen to this song, it's stuck in my head forever. It's definitely a highlight. This album starts off really strong with these two tracks. Among their best of this era, probably, you know, in the top 20 Iron Maiden songs. There's so many good ones. I don't know, to say top 20, somebody's going to get mad, but they're up there. These are great tracks. And it's just a high-energy track, and it's one of the best Iron Maiden music videos out there. They have some good ones. They have some bad ones. I particularly like the Holy Smoke video because it's so funny, but some people don't like that one. This one, on the other hand, is one of their best. This one's great. Up next, we have track number 3. We have The Great Unknown by Steve Harris and Adrian Smith coming in at 6 minutes and 37 seconds. But this one does not feel that long, really. It takes up 6.5 minutes, but it feels much shorter than that, and I think that's very advantageous to the song itself. It's about a war or event just before the collapse of humanity, and so you're going into the great unknown because you don't know what's going to come next. We've all had that feeling in life, particularly in 2020 and 2021. It does not, however, paint a very rosy picture of humanity in its final days. We are probably not going to last, according to this song, but it's a hugely underrated track. They played it live in place of Hallowed Be Thy Name, and it's a great one to hear live. I don't think it made it onto the live recording from this tour, but it might have. I'm not sure. I haven't listened to it in a while. The Book of Souls live chapter, I didn't get that one, that live album. You can check it out there. I didn't get that live album until very recently. I watched the video a couple times, like the concert footage, but I haven't really dug into it like I've dug into other Iron Maiden live albums. Like I said before, it took Hallowed Be Thy Name's place in the second leg of the tour and did an admirable job of replacing that song, but obviously that is probably one of Iron Maiden's 5 best songs, so it's really hard to replace it. But moving on to track number 4, we have probably the best song on the album. I'm going to say that a lot of you out there think that this would be like the best song on the album. This was one that I had to take a long time to get into. I remember listening to this album over and over and over and over and over and over again to try to memorize the lyrics for when I went to go see them on the tour. I'm talking about, of course, The Red and the Black by Steve Harris, coming in at 13 minutes and 33 seconds. It is one of the longest songs in Iron Maiden history. You have the last song on this album. You have Rime of the Ancient Mariner. You have some other tracks, but this one is among the longest. Yes, it's a Steve Harris song that starts off with a slow bass intro. We get it at this point, but I bet a lot of you out there that are, you know, fans of this era, fans of those songs, would say, hey, you know, that's kind of what Steve Harris does. He's pretty goddamn good at writing songs, so whatever. Give me all the slow bass intros that you want. If they're as good as this song, I don't care. It doesn't feel, like I said with the previous track, it does not feel like a 13-minute song. This song speeds through. It is among the best in their catalog, just from minute 1 to 13 all the way through. It compares gambling or like playing cards or roulette or whatever to war. Gambling is a battlefield. There's casino, roulette, card imagery, all of that stuff that you can think about when you go to Las Vegas. It is absolutely awesome to hear live. I thought that this track would be a drag to hear live. I'm like, okay, wow, it's a 13-minute song. I've seen them play Rime of the Ancient Mariner. That's not a drag to see live. I don't know what I was thinking, but this song is absolutely fantastic to hear live. I know Iron Maiden loves playing these long tracks because obviously it gives Bruce Dickinson a little time to breathe, but also because they are awesome. They get the crowd going. All of the different peaks and valleys and the different, you know, speed changes and all of that. This song is amazing. All 3 of the guitarists absolutely shred this song. They just do. You can't help but air guitar to it. And it is one of my top 5 favorite songs of the reunion era. It's probably in the top 15 all time. This song is the real goddamn deal. The Red and the Black is completely awesome. Number 5, we have When the River Runs Deep by Adrian Smith and Steve Harris, coming in at 5 minutes and 52 seconds long. So you've got those first 4 songs that are all pretty damn awesome. You have to get somewhere where you get like a bit of a dip. And this song is the dip of the album. It's definitely the weakest track on the album. I'm sorry. If this is your favorite song on the Book of Souls, I don't know what to say. This album's awesome, but this has got to be the weakest track. It sounds pretty classic Maiden-y, so like the people out there that, you know, only love killers or jackasses, you might like this track. Probably won't, because what are you listening to the Book of Souls for if you don't like, you know, everything after Powerslave? I don't know. You hear that a lot on the internet, like assholes that are like, oh, Powerslave's the last real Iron Maiden album. Yeah, fuck you. This isn't one that I return to a lot. It has a very generic theme. It's just about, you know, valor and battle. With a lot of Iron Maiden songs like that. Amazing guitar work, though. The lyrics, a little generic. They don't really fit the song, like the music, the tone of the song. It's weird. You listen to it and you're like, wow, the guitars kick ass. Lyrics, they're okay. There are a lot of tempo changes in this one, like every Iron Maiden reunion era track. You know, it's not just the same speed all at once, especially when you're going with like a 5+ minute song here. Listen for the guitars, but not really anything else. I don't know what to say. I don't listen to this song very often. Being the worst song on an Iron Maiden album is not, you know, a horrible thing, but it's, you know, it's not the best. Up next, we have what Bruce Dickinson described as the main event by Steve Harris and Yannick Gers. We have The Book of Souls coming in at 10 minutes and 27 seconds, the title track. This is all about how societies will eventually fall. It doesn't matter what society you have, it will fall because of humanity being stupid or whatnot. Hypocrisy is at the center of all major powers that fall. Rome, you know, ancient Rome, pardon me. Whatever society, the Mayan civilization, you know, the French Empire, all that stuff. All of it goes down due to hypocrisy. It's painted in the frame of the Mayan civilization, but you know, the message of the song really holds true for every other civ out there that could go down, or that has gone down. It just has absolutely insane guitar work, like crazy, like best of their career guitar work here on this track. The back half in particular being a highlight, where it's just like, I don't even know what they were doing in the studio. Were they just waiting in line to just like, okay, I'm going to shred next. Okay, you're done. Get out of there. I'm shredding. You're done. Get out of there. I'm shredding. And then they're just, you know, going in a circle like that. I don't know. I can only imagine. But the guitar work on this album and on this track in particular is absolutely fantastic. Bruce Dickinson, not to be, you know, stood up, sings the absolute hell out of this track. And when you think about it, really, when he sang all of these songs with a tumor in his throat, like a cancerous tumor that was the size of a golf ball, and it's just an absolutely, like, fantastic vocal performance here. He really leaves you hanging on every word. Like, every line delivery is just, like, pitch perfect here on this album. It is an Iron Maiden classic in every sense of the word. I love this track. You cannot go wrong with the title track, Book of Souls. Next up, we have track number 7, Death or Glory. Smith Dickinson, 5 minutes. This is what you want. This is, you know, in my opinion, the prequel to Aces High. So you have Aces High about the Battle of Britain in World War II. You have Death or Glory about fighter planes in World War I. Think about the Red Baron and stuff like that. This is about as Smith Dickinson as they come. Maybe Speed of Light. But you've got 2 absolutely smash Smith Dickinson songs here. And it's catchy, it's classic, it feels like a Powerslave song. It obviously feels like 2 Minutes to Midnight or any other Smith Dickinson track. No other song would make Iron Maiden fans out there, or music fans in general, dress up as a monkey and bring bananas to a show, other than the lyric in this track of "climb like a monkey," and so whenever Bruce Dickinson would sing it, you can look up videos. You have like the entire crowd going like this, climbing like a monkey, people dressing like monkeys, them bringing bananas on stage, people throwing bananas on stage, eating bananas, whatever. Not a lot of Iron Maiden tracks out there will make people dress up like monkeys and go to Iron Maiden concerts. Any song that can do that is fantastic and great in my book. So dress up like monkeys. Hopefully they play Death or Glory on another tour because this track is amazing. Number 8, we have Shadows of the Valley by Yannick Gers and Steve Harris coming in at 7 minutes and 53 seconds long. It's not a track anyone's going to single out as the best on this album, I don't think. There's a lot of contenders here. You know, The Red and the Black, the title track, Death or Glory, Speed of Light, If Eternity Should Fail, the 2 songs coming up. This one is a fine track, but it just doesn't really feel... It doesn't measure up to those. This track and When the River Runs Deep, it sort of feels like, okay, hey, we need a double album. Because we've got, like, a bunch of long-ass songs, so let's just get these 2 on here and make it a double album. It'll be cool. So, like, when I did my big, like, I'm going to listen to the album so that I can get ready for the live show, I'm going to listen to most of the songs that they're going to play live more. It's just going to happen. I missed out on this track. It might be weird that I'm saying, you know, what I said before, but I really like this track. It proves that Yannick and Steve Harris are, like, among the best songwriting tandems in the band. You know, Smith-Dickinson, Smith-Harris, you know, Dickinson-Smith, or Dickinson-Harris, all of them put together, but of the twosomes, Yannick and Steve Harris continually put out great tracks as their work, and it's a great mix of, like, that old sound that you want to hear and the new sound that you want them to evolve into, and you kind of get it put together, and you kind of get the best of both worlds with this track. Highly underrated. I wish they would have played it live. It would have been insane for them to play this whole album in its entirety because it's an hour and a half, and then you would have the show over after that. But this one, among the most underrated of the era, great track. Number 9, we have a sad one. We have Tears of a Clown by Smith and Steve Harris coming in at 4 minutes and 59 seconds. They played this one live, and this one is all about Robin Williams. It's inspired by him and what he goes through. It paints a sad, depressing picture of mental health. And, you know, like you guys out there, I've been put into a spot. I've been in spots like this where, you know, you're depressed and you have to put on your happy face so that nobody knows about it. So you got to smile and, you know, joke around and make other people laugh because, you know, it sort of makes you forget that, you know, you're depressed on the inside or whatever. And so making other people happy you think might make yourself happy, but at the end of the day, you have to help yourself. And those who seem like they're the happiest or the you know, wealthiest or the whatever might not be. They might not be on the inside. They might be putting on that act, and you never know what other people are going through in their day-to-day lives. If you need help, go get help. That's the simple thing. There's plenty of resources out there, wherever you live, for help like this. If you have depression or mental health issues, go get help because you know, you deserve to be here. You should stay here with us. So go get help. Tears of a Clown, great track, but a really sad one. Whew. Up next, we have number 10. We have 2 more tracks here. We have The Man of Sorrows by Dave Murray and Steve Harris coming in at 6 minutes and 28 seconds long. This is the only Dave Murray track on the album. It won't be brightening up your spirits anytime soon, neither will the last track, but it's filled with sadness and sorrow. You can really hear it in the guitar tones, and you can hear it in the notes. It doesn't sound like a traditional Iron Maiden song. It sounds more like a ballad. I know Iron Maiden really hasn't done very many ballads in their career. They have, you know, Wasting Love is like the first official one. They have some other ones from the past and some other ones since then, but this feels very much like an Iron Maiden ballad for the new era of the band. The guitar sound captures that sorrow, that pain, that despair really well here. It gets lost in the shuffle here because of the last track being so long, but it really isn't one that you should forget about. It's a great song with a great chorus, and give it a listen. Just don't forget about it because you are going on to the 18-minute song, which we are talking about now. Number 11, we have Empire of the Clouds by Bruce Dickinson, coming in at 18 minutes and 1 second. This is a rock opera. This is a movie of a track here. This is the real main event. This is a true epic. I know I say that a lot, but this is a true epic in every sense of that word. It tells you a story. It gives you blistering guitars. It'll make you feel things. It'll make you emotional. It is absolutely unlike anything in the band's catalog. Comparing it to Rime of the Ancient Mariner just isn't correct. It's not the same song. It's not the same era. It's just, this is a one of one. This is a one of one in the Iron Maiden catalog. It's all about the crash of the British R-101 airship, which crashed in northern France in 1930. It was a Zeppelin that crashed and caused a huge accident, a huge incident. According to the band, Bruce Dickinson just locked himself in a soundproof box to write this track in the studio in France. He used the piano that was there to record it, and then on the album he used keyboards so that they could edit out any mistakes or anything like that. But this was probably one of the most difficult tracks to record for the band, because they had to, obviously it's an 18-minute track, but they had to go over Bruce's music and then add orchestral elements and go through Kevin Shirley's instructions, and so it was just like a very regimented process to get the track together. It is hugely cinematic. This is like I said before, this is a movie of a track. You could make a movie based on this track. You could adapt this 18-minute track song into a movie. It is emotional. The piano, the guitar riff still give me chills to this day. I remember hearing it for the first time, and you look at it and you go, oh my God. You look at the back and you go Empire of the Clouds, and you look at the track list and you go, oh my God, it's 18 minutes. You don't know what to expect. I can't tell you what I was expecting. And then you put it on, you put your headphones on, and you crank the stereo up, and you hear it for the first time, and you hear the piano, and you hear the guitars, and it was a truly heavenly emotional experience. It was like, people say they have out-of-body experiences. Listening to this track for the first time, I can remember it very vividly. It is just one of the best story-driven songs in metal. So you have like the Seventh Son album, and you have some other stuff. You have Coheed and Cambria doing all their musical stuff, musical sort of cinematic stuff. This track is the best of the best. This track is the best of the best at telling a story. This is one of the best songs out there. It is difficult to listen to because it is 18 minutes long, but you will be heavily rewarded for re-listening to this one over and over and over. Like watching a good movie, you will pick up something new every single time you listen to it. This track is the one of one. I don't think you could classify it among their best songs because of how different and just absolutely long it is. So obviously you have Hallowed Be Thy Name and all the songs that you would expect to be in the top 10 or the top 5. This track is just completely different than that. And that's what makes it special. That's what makes this album special, is that it is such it's not a radical departure, but in places it is. Like this track, in other places it is a different sort of Iron Maiden album, and that's what makes the Book of Souls so special. It is still by far the longest album from the band. Senjutsu came a little bit close, but it was about 10 minutes short. The themes have gotten darker and more dreary as they go through their career, but the music is still fantastic. The music is still there. You still have Iron Maiden in here. It is among the band's best. I have only gotten more bullish on this album as time has gone on. I loved it when it came out. I loved it when I did the written reviews for Iron Maiden-A-Thon. I love it even more after listening to it for this review. It's not their best of the era still. A Matter of Life and Death is probably as close as it comes in this era to a perfect album, but this is very close. This is very, very close, because A Matter of Life and Death doesn't tell you a story, or it doesn't outright tell you a story, but it goes through and it has those themes interwoven. This album sort of follows in that footsteps with the the themes of the soul and the themes of death and reincarnation and civilizations crumbling. It goes through all of those themes very well, but it doesn't quite match up to that greatness of that album in the reunion era. I gave it an 87. Now I would probably give it closer to a 90 or a 92 out of 100 because it just has gotten that much better as it ages. It is not for those quote-unquote classic Iron Maiden fans, like I was saying before, that think that Powerslave is the last Iron Maiden album. It's not for you. This album is not for you. This review is not for you. This album is for the full-fledged Iron Maiden fan out there that appreciates the band's catalog and appreciates how they have evolved as a band over time. It is well worth the hour-and-a-half time investment. It does a lot better, like all of their albums, when you listen to it from track 1 all the way to track 11. If you listen to it all the way through, no stops, no skips, no pauses, you just put your headphones on and you do what you're going to do, and you have this album on, you will be heavily rewarded with a great experience, a great listening experience. Empire of the Clouds is worth a listen by itself, but when you put it together with the rest of the album, it is absolutely an essential experience for Iron Maiden fans out there. We've already had a small review for Senjutsu, but Iron Maiden-A-Thon will conclude with the one final episode for Senjutsu next time you see it. And as for the Book of Souls, just an absolutely great album. That's it for the band. That's it for the album. It's great. Listen to it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. If you've made it this far, make sure you do all that YouTube stuff. We'll get to Senjutsu. And thank you for watching. And I will see you again real soon from me and from Eddie. So thank you for watching.